Alright, Saints Nation, thanks for sticking with us here. Game number 6 now underway. We have the full squad here. Junie's connection issues seem to be back under control, so all is good there. We might be seeing, however, a little bit of a extension off of the standard start that we oftentimes see from the St. Clair squad. This time, we're going to have Junie up into the castle, or whatever you want to call that. We have Siri in Sweaty Sands already. Very different. You don't usually see the Saints cross this area until much later. Llama! Grab it while you can. I mean, arsenal-wise, not too shabby, but at the same time, we got so much materials off that. Gonna save Siri much time going on later. PlayVS in the house, just gonna farm that one up instead. And of course, Junie's still up in the castle, so a nice quiet start here for the Saints once again. While we are watching them load up here, do want to give a big thank you to everybody who is using their channel points to boost this stream. Of course, first time we're going to see the Saints stream get boosted for Fortnite action, so big props to all of you getting this out there. I know it's a bit of a learning experience for myself here today, but the action has still been absolutely crazy. It's nice to see the Saints not drop out of the top 10, other than game number 1. I was taking a look, they're constantly finding themselves in these 24-minute games, constantly there in the end game, whether it's somebody, whatchamacallit, keeping themselves alive. And of course, for those who may not know, the whole boosting system on Twitch doesn't happen all the time. It is only special occasion. You can put those channel points towards a boost, and it puts us in people's recommendeds, or it gets us a better chance of getting front page for no cost. So sometimes the traffic does boost up a little bit. So big thank you to those jumping on it as soon as it did pop on up there. It is pretty well random, unfortunately, though. Otherwise, I would try to boost it every single time, but it's all on Twitch's discretion. So thank you all for capitalizing while it was here. I was going to say, I hear a car, but I see a car, but I don't hear a car. Where art's that? I should probably make sure we're on the right screen here. Chelsea would like this car. Bright, bright purple. And Junie in the trunk. Where is LASIX in all this, actually? Everybody's in a car and you're huffing it on foot. Getting the exercise in while you can, I suppose. Top off on as much materials. Hello, chest. Anything good? Majority of the Saints like to carry that harpoon gun. We've seen them use it a couple times throughout the past matches for either fish collecting or end game long range loot grabbing. So definitely good to have on hand. While we do await for the skirmishes to get in a little bit closer, let's take a look at the mini-map, or the whole map rather, at hand and see who we have nearby. We have 2 teams of yellow, which one of them, of course, being us here, LASIX, Siri, and Junie, but at the same time, Archer, Rocky, and Dinka nearby as well. Possible collision course as we start going towards the desert for the safe zone. Pearl Ackerman is right there with his squad. Nate Nasty and Maddie. Once again, just wish that players would have some sort of collegiate abbreviation so I can actually put some context to these. But just realize that we've seen this team many a time so far tonight. And then Gingy the Forehead and his squad could possibly come into contact here, as well as Paralyzed and his crew. From at least what we could see. This team right now, though, right down here. Trying to see who we have here. Right by Mancake. It's Fraggy and the boys. Sitting down by Mancake, sitting pretty. They don't have to go anywhere if they really don't want to. But in the meantime, we'll hop back in with LASIX, who's driving her like he stole it, essentially. Find himself a chest. Very nice. Little bit of healing, AoE healing, as well as that assault rifle. Probably going to pass that off. Siri's coming in hot. Probably wants to pick that one up. He built you a door for a reason. You didn't need to make your own, Siri. Junie's actually going to pick up that assault rifle, so fair enough. Let's take a look at everybody's loadout, actually. Yeah, why would Siri want the blue assault rifle, Danners? He has the Scar right there. Has the legendary. What am I talking about? Yeah, bot. Anyway, let's take a look. So, okay, so Junie's just going to keep the green assault rifle instead. Maybe not necessarily liking the heavy assault rifle instead. And then Lasix is actually sitting pretty well as well. Probably feeling pumped after that last game. Clutching it out, securing the victory royale. Of course, Saints are the yellow this time by, but it is a little bit odd as well, considering every time I switch to a player, that player then becomes the white arrow. And Chest's gonna get a couple of decent potions here. Lots of potions here in the pocket of Junie. And then now to the south, we could have our very first collision course here. We actually have, I was listing off teams earlier, and none of them are the ones that we're seeing here first. Braggy and the boys are off to the east. However, there's still that team down to the south. Saints, of course, they do have those anime crystals, able to dash through the desert like it's Guilty Gear. Keep himself relatively safe. However, we could have ourselves a confrontation as we go into the warehouse. Right on the other side of it, the team is ready and waiting. Pick up the crystals. Siri doesn't necessarily know. Let's spot him out now. Okay, so he's going to be able to call this one out to the rest of the squad. Takes to the high ground, possibly finds an opportunity to get some assault rifle shots. Gonna trust he did some damage there. Servers be praised. The Siri takes a high ground. Junie is going to be taking the background. Where in the world did Lasix go? Basically going to frontline this one. Frontline with the sniper rifle. Definitely feeling himself after that last game. Junie going to take the opportunity to snag himself a purple scar. Very nice. Still that team to the north, but other than that little bit of shield damage that I thought it was Junie that took care of a little bit earlier, no real heavy damage as of this moment. And let's take a look with 30 seconds left here on the storm. What's the storm positioning, actually? Let's zoom out here a little bit and see. So yeah, Saints are basically right in the middle of everything already, so nicely done in regards to positioning. Do they want to opt to switch out anywhere? We'll have to see as this goes on here. Another 15 seconds, and I'm sure we'll see. With Junie building these, or that fort a little bit quickly. Of course, basically loaded up 500 on almost everything. And if this is what I think, the Saints are still not going to have to move at all. Technically, no. They could move a little bit further down south if they want to make sure that they're dead center for the next one. And I think that's exactly what they are going to do here. Take the road and get out of Dodge. Not going to bother with that team that was there earlier. And honestly, if they can find themselves a good setup on this high ground, they will be sitting pretty for the majority of this round. Get the truck out of there. Let them build. Fair enough. Let's take a look and see what the Saints are cooking up here. Nice little tower on the hill. Going to be sitting quite nicely for a while. Even to the point where I think that was Siri looking to go long of sorts, get a little bit of extra loot. A couple of extra other teams down in the low ground here. Shots fired. I think it's from Lasix. Let's take a look from Lasix's point of view, actually. Let's reattach the drone so I don't drop it, and let's get back into this one from Lasix's point of view. Started off with the sniper rifle. Not going to find any contact, however. Junie up at the very top with the assault rifle in hand, trying to pick somebody off, but not going to find any contact, getting that wall up just before the sniper rifle shot goes whizzing by. And then Siri is still on the ground. They built this gigantic fort, and he's still taking the ground side of things. That is interesting to say the least, but he's on his way back. And we can kind of see in the background multiple players on the move already. That light yellow team down in the southeast, trying to still find a position for them to get their forts up. So they're just kind of huffing it on ground. 90 players started this game, 30 teams. We're down to 57 players, 21 teams still in this game. Not quite halfway done just yet. Care package down in the northeast from Junie's position as well. Any of the players going to opt to go for that? Let's quickly take a look, why don't we? Looks like actually this light yellow team or this light green team off in the far distance, looking to try and make a play for it. There's the blue smoke, going to try and pick it up. In fact, they very well might have. So the green team here, the F7 squad, picking up some decent loot here. Crimo's going to find that one nicely. While the Saints are stuck taking a look, being prairie dogs. Actually, hang on a second. Hold that thought for just a moment. Possible opportunity here for Lasix. If the rest of the Saints want to maybe pepper that wall down with an assault rifle, let Lasix take the shot. Might be what they're thinking about setting up for. Maybe, maybe not. Just using the rifle for scouting. But unfortunately now here for St. Clair, the Storm is not going to be in their favor for this next round. Got themselves about a minute 20 before the Storm starts closing in. Of course, they don't have to move that far per se. They basically look to try and maybe extend their fort. But then, in theory, the next round it just goes away as well. Shot going to just go wide here for Lasix. Siri endlessly chopping at that tree. There we go. Hop into the swing of things. And Saints might get open fired upon here. We have many members, many teams right around the corner from them. Shot from Lasix going to just go to the right a little bit wide. Saints really trying to pile on in as close to center as possible before they do end up setting things up. Junie going to just straight up drive this truck into a rock to make sure he gets himself into the proper position. Where are all the Saints? I think they're actually all kind of gobbled up together here in the building. Sure enough, going to be A-okay moving forward for the next couple of minutes. Let's take a look and see where they're at. I did actually lose the drone, but thankfully we're getting ourselves right back into the game. Here's where the end game is going to end up going down as of right now. There's our squad, the F7 squad, right around the corner as well. Who's up in the high ground there? The blue squad, Pupa, and the rest of the gang, I suppose. Down below, who's here in the purple? We do have Clips, Kostin, and Brendan Sensei. Now, Saints, of course, being kind of stuck out like a sore thumb here compared to the rest of this fort. They have to be careful. From behind, still have some other players making their way over as well. In the distance, there's some teams coming in as well. I don't know if the view distance allows us to see it per se, but there is, of course, down there that there is some players to keep an eye on for. Don't blame the Saints for being cautious moving forward here. So we do see players just absolutely surrounding them from basically all angles. It's one of the downsides of being dead center. Sure, Storm Your chance of having to move for the storm is much less if you stay in the middle, but it means that there's going to be people all around you ready to pop shots at you. So you do see Siri and the rest of the Saints piling on here onto F7's Fortress, or actually F7's the one actually piling onto them. Siri going to keep this thing built up and ready to go for at least a little while longer. Still some decent materials in the bank. It's going to be Lasix who's actually going to try and return fire a little bit through a small hole in the wall towards Krymos, but not going to make contact. Storm about to move on in. Saints are barely going to maybe have to shimmy on over just a touch. One team that's going to be coasting in the squad, making a run for it. Saints aren't going to spot it out, though, so no free damage. The Saints have themselves a bit of a quiet game. These are the kind of games that kind of make me nervous as we get later and later into this PlayVS series. Saints, on average, for the past couple of weeks, have gotten themselves 7 out of 10 rounds in a night. And that's oftentimes because they are one of the last teams still kicking at the very end of these rounds. Of course, Saints basically averaging top 10, not dropping out of the top 10, except for game number 1, where they were basically insta-killed because the team challenged them and got the best of them. But with it going in so late, but not having any eliminations, that does make me nervous. And we see Siri making his way through, nearly going to be dodging a sniper rifle shot, trying to get himself a little bit more closer to center, and the rest of the squad going to come alongside as well. Let's quickly try to take a look at the madness that we see in here as we go along. Where'd our Saints go? There they are, right over here. Anybody really nearby? Pearl Ackerman, welcome back. Down below, battling it out there with Kostin and his squad. The F7 squad still just down the hull, essentially. And you got to keep an eye on Exceed, Elite Connor, and the rest of the team as well. Who's shooting from below, actually? We have some challengers off here. There's Archer and Dinka and Rocky. We spotted them a little bit earlier in the game, but they're only becoming a threat to us right here, right now. Squad kind of stuck on the bottom. Ackerman's going back and forth here. Saints going to try and get a piece of that as well, it looks like. Siri, Junie, Lasix, everybody's trying to just pour damage in onto that other yellow squad. Not going to make contact, but now giving this this position here for the next storm. This is going to be a little bit awkward here for the Saints. Going to definitely have to make a run for it, so to speak. Lasix does have somebody pinned. Managed to get 33 off their shield, but that's about it. Siri's starting to build a path here for the rest of the Saints to take on through. Keep using those bounce pads to the best of your ability. That's one way to traverse the distance, but how much damage are they going to take in the meantime? That Storm did kind of tag up Junie just a touch, but not too badly. Siri continuing to lead the charge forward. Getting a little bit low on materials, however, so he's not going to be able to keep this up forever. Somebody else is going to have to lead the charge here in a second. While the Saints top off, or while Junie and Lasix top off on shields, Siri keeps the fort healthy, rather. Sinclair spots the F7 squad again. Going to try and pepper them down, but they get flanked from the side. Junie taking a ton of damage here. That is a lot of ammunition getting poured in onto the St. Clair's fort. Junie's going to have to come to the side and try and get himself topped off, or at least a little bit. Lasix still rather healthy. Does have the cans available if the Saints do end up grouping up. There we go. Top on off. And now it's time for a little bit of chaos. We have ourselves still 16 teams. Half the teams still in this with one player at least. in this tight storm. We kind of see the outlines. We see the x-rays of all the different teams in this area. The fact that the Saints are on the outside looking in, this does make me feel better for them in regards to their positioning, but not in regards to eliminations. And sure enough, that is going to be the choice here for St. Clair. Going to make their way in. Lasix chasing Siri, ready to open fire. Lucky Fan up above Peter, or Pearl Ackerman rather, right there as well. Siri is going to basically be face checking them in a second if he's not careful. Mendinka right there as well with his team. Everybody, as of right now, have been able to basically keep himself within the Storm's perimeter. Even when getting shot from above, they've been okay. Junie's going to get open fired upon, taking a lot of damage, actually. It's a little bit unfortunate there for him, a little bit unfortunate for us not being able to figure out what is exactly going down here. Shotgun blast coming out here against Junie. Who jumped him? It's actually going to be the Pink Squad that is going to be viral. Coming in clutch, taking him down. So it's going to be up to Lasix and Siri to clean up this triples round, but there's still so much left to go. They're going to find their first elimination, as it's going to be Lasix who does clean that one up. Siri, however, basically point blank with a couple different members. Going to try and get the jump onto one of them. That's a good wall, though, completely shutting Siri down. He's going to have to try and take a different route. He's going to get chased down. Lasix looking for himself another one as well. Did knock somebody down. And it is going to be a kill. So Siri actually knocked somebody down, and then they died in the storm. So he's going to get credit for being the last one to touch it. Finds one more. Mendinka goes down. So Siri finds himself his second elimination here of the game. A couple of the F7 squad members running on through. Lasix is here as well. Just trying to tear through this building. Try to keep themselves within the storm's perimeter. So of course, this thing hurts like hell now. You can't just sit here and tank the storm anymore. And in regards to healing, Saints do not have anything for health healing. They have shields for days, sure, but that's only good in player versus player. That will not save you versus the Storm itself, as we do see Lasix trying to get himself an elimination. Nearly gets the knockdown, or he does get the knockdown, however, finishes the job, does take care of Shiftik. There is 7 team still alive, and there comes Pearl Ackerman and his squad to take care of Lasix, which means it's going to be up to Siri to clutch this out here for St. Clair. No matter what, top 10 finish once again here for St. Clair, and they're going to get themselves at least one more round here in this play versus session. He's going to just keep on moving alongside the Storm, trying to keep his profile low as much as possible. My thing is, he's going to have to make a little bit of noise, though, to get through some of these walls. Just trying to shark from below, look for a straggler, otherwise just keep his nose out of it. Is there any sort of healing in the player that just died in the storm? There is not. He's going to have to spring himself forward. The wall is going to get in his way. He's going to go down. Unfortunate there for Siri. Had the right idea, bet it all on the fact that that player had something for healing, and it did not go in his favor, unfortunately. So Saints are going to get themselves a 6th place finish in that one. But at the same time, they did get a couple of eliminations near the end there. So solid round overall for the St. Clair squad. We're going to quickly, once again, before we hop into the next one, might be the briefest of moments before we do, but we're going to take a look and see where our Saints are standing. Looks like they had themselves a good one, of course, and this, as of right now, has us in 316 points, which as of right now does put them in the top 10, in fact, in 6th. So right around the corner, they're just got the taste of those top positions, but at the same time, you do have to worry about the excuse me, there's going to be other teams that are going to be finishing games up as well. Unfortunate, I did not fix that. It looks like exclamation mark bracket bringing up the Collegiate Cold War qualifiers from a couple of weeks ago. Whoops. And do believe if Atmosphere, if you happen to be in the chat, you had a link. Actually, I can get that link for you right here, right now from Fortnite Tracker. This way you can follow along at home if I don't happen to have the page here open and whatnot. But we don't have the red dot, so we're going to have to be a brief moment before we do hop into game number 7, which again, Saints have been basically getting 7 matches preseason in week 1, and it looks like that's going to be the case here for game 2, unless they want to opt for opt for 1 round of going in guns blazing, and then try to have one final long one. But that could be risky. Of course, as soon as 11 o'clock hits, the server stops accepting matchmaking, so you get shut down. So let's see what they can do. Of course, if they can get 7, maybe 8 rounds in, but we'll have to see in just a second. Gotta wait for the delay to go through before we get into the game. So we'll be right back. Game 7, right around the corner. Saints in the top 10. Let's see how far they can go.